Well, here's a video you probably didn't even know you wanted to see. It's in case you got a patina, you don't want to obviously clear coat it. Here's a video on how to use boiled linseed oil. Get a little shine back in her. Stick around. Alright, so I'm going to kind of show you a little bit older trick. It's going to be using linseed oil to try a little bit shine back in this old patina. I haven't done it in probably over a year, as you can tell, because this truck looks super matte, no gloss, no nothing to it. But it's a cool little trick to have in case you do it a couple times a year, and hopefully you don't take off any more paint or anything. It shouldn't damage anything. The correct way of doing this is going through with an SOS pad or a kind of Scotch-Brite and just kind of hitting it a little bit. I'm not going to do that. There's not really a lot of paint left on a lot of this area, and I don't want to keep having to abrase a little bit more and a little bit more, and then eventually it's just going to be primer, and yeah, I don't want that. So I'm just going to hit it with the linseed oil. I just got it back from the car wash. Doesn't really look it because it's just matte. That's all it is. So hopefully it doesn't get too hot, but I'll show you what I'm working with over here. Alright, pretty much all you need: linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits, container to put it all in. You can always use a paint cup as well. It's usually what I use, except all my paint stuff went away, so I haven't been painting anything recently. And a rag. That one's pretty clean. It's pretty much all you need. So what you're going to do is a little mixture of these. This is what makes your shine, right? And then you can kind of cut it down a little bit if you don't want it to be super glossy. And then also, linseed oil is very thick, so it kind of helps if you have a cutting agent to kind of help bring it back away from being such an oil and kind of goopy, bringing it back more to more of a little bit more liquidy and easily to kind of spread. At the end of the day, it's still an oil. You'll see when I pour it in here, if it's an oil and you just pour it on and smear it around, it's going to probably leave streaks, it's going to leave a bunch of stuff like that. That's not what you want. What you're going to want is some way of obviously keeping it smooth as you go through this process, which is one thing that's really good about the mineral spirits, is it'll kind of make it a little bit more of a liquid. Usually what I do is about a 50-50. You can do more oil, less oil, but if you notice, I mean, just like really, it's kind of like thin motor oil. It's about the consistency. So you're probably going to use a little bit. I don't know. It's not very expensive. Do your mix. Sure, that looks good to me. Give it a good stir. It's always good to keep the coat hanger around, I guess. Little wisp, if you want, huh? So yeah, that's pretty much all we're going to work with here. Now we're going to go right back outside. Start applying it. Alright, pretty self-explanatory. I usually just get a little bit on the rag, bring it over, and just start applying it on. So the key is that you don't want to make a ton in like a pool. Otherwise what's going to happen is it's not going to really want to lay for you real well. And then what you're going to notice is you're going to start getting like debris and random stuff in here. It's not going to look good. I mean, it's already, I got it super faded and doesn't look amazing how it is, but at least this way you can kind of get a little bit more of a shine to it before you enter in that beauty contest or something like that. But I mean, already off of the off of how it looks, it just looks a lot better. Alright, literally that easy. I'm gonna let this sit. I'm gonna let it kind of dry essentially as best it will. It's gonna take a while for it to harden up. It may become kind of tacky at first, but after a little while it should become hard or harder, and that's kind of like your temporary clear coat. You can adjust the shine based upon kind of adjusting 50-50, 70-30, whatever ratio you want to do. That's kind of how it works. Real easy to do. It took me maybe 15-20 minutes to do the car, or to do the truck. Again, the biggest thing though is if you want to really get your color to be bright and shiny and kind of bring out that vibrant, you got to hit it with kind of just an abrasion, real light, like a not a Brillo, a Scotch-Brite pad or something, to really help try to kind of bring out that color. And then hitting it with this kind of acts as a sealer for about 3 months, 2 to 3 months, maybe longer depending on where you're at. Here in the Texas heat, sun will kind of eat away at it for a little while, and about 2-3 months from now I'll be back out here reapplying it, no big issue. But yeah, so yeah, real simple. If you guys have any questions about it, post below. I'll see what I can do to answer. One last thing, please remember, linseed oil is very flammable. You're mixing it with things. There are some people who have said that these rags can get hot if they get into an area where they get compressed and things like that. Heat in a rag on a flammable substance can create a fire. So make sure that you either dispose of these properly or wash them appropriately so they're not a fire hazard and you burn down your dang truck or something like that. But that's where we're at. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up. If not, like, subscribe, and I'll see you when I finally get back to the Charger, which hopefully should be pretty soon. But until then, stick around.